Hello, this is Jon Miller, the creator of the Rest of Everest. I think I can safely say that this show is, without a doubt, the most in-depth look into the entire experience of what it takes to climb Everest, as well as some other peaks throughout the Himalayas. But all of the events in this series are shown in chronological order, so if you're new to the show, please go all the way back to episode 000 and watch everything in order. That's truly the best way to enjoy it. Thanks.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience.
Hi everyone, Jon Miller here. We have just one more regular episode from Season 5 that I'll release next week. But before that, I wanted to release a few extra episodes consisting of team interviews Chris Marquardt filmed back in 2010 while we were trekking to the Kangshung Face. These interviews are a lot of fun, but they just didn't fit into the typical episodes. So here they are in their entirety. We're going to continue on from part 1 with Damion, myself, Christine, and Kevin. Oh, one more thing. There is still room on our 2013 Kailash Workshop Trek. If you'd like to be a part of this incredible experience and, maybe yourself be a part of the future episodes of the Rest of Everest, please visit HimalayanWorkshops.com, or you can always just shoot me an email, Jon@therestofeverest, and I'll get you all the information and get you taken care of. We would love to have you along on this incredible adventure. All right, now on to this interview episode. Here we go.
Who are you? Where are you from?
I am Damion. I am from Maryland.
Maryland?
From sea level. Zero.
Would you mind?
Elevation.
Would you mind telling me what you do for a living?
I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind? Okay. No need to tell me. What made you decide to become part of this year's Everest trek?
I watched.
Can you hold that? Yes. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
I watched Tips from the Top Floors podcast, and from previous podcasts, especially one that was in a bar, nothing to do with photography. It just seemed like everybody was having a really good time and having a lot of fun. And that was probably a couple of years ago, and I was thinking it just seemed like a lot of fun. And I tried to get on last year's Everest trek, didn't get on. I got on this year's, and I like a lot of people are into the culture and the people aspect of the Everest trek. I'm more of the nature part, but it's a good time.
What's the coolest thing of the Everest trek for you so far?
I guess what attracted me the most so far was it yesterday? It was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. We were hiking and we saw this path or this gouge in the earth where there used to be a glacier, and we walked around it a little bit, and we could see what was left over of the glacier further up. And I just kept on taking pictures of it. I kept on going from spot to spot, trying to find a better spot to take pictures of it from. And it really caught my eye, and I really enjoyed it. It seemed to have its own little history and story all of its own. And it wasn't, it didn't have a voice of its own to tell a story, but it had a story to tell.
So what sucked most about the trek?
Right now, it's freaking cold.
Okay, I'll make this fast. What kind of subjects do you shoot most on the trek?
On the trek? Probably nature.
Nature?
Inanimate objects. I'm not a people person.
So did you shoot any people pictures on the trek?
Some.
Like also in the cities we've been to, the monasteries?
A little. Not much, a little.
Are you more of a telephoto or wide angle shooter?
My 24 to 105 has stayed on my camera the whole time. Primarily because there's not enough oxygen up here for me to change my lens.
What's the favorite photo thing you brought on this trek?
My favorite photo thing? Oh man, maybe
it could be the lens.
Although I haven't used it very much, I will say my lens baby.
Cool, yeah, me too.
I have used it. I have changed my lens once or twice with the lens baby.
What would you leave home next time?
What would I leave home? filters.
Didn't use
Have
any?
not used them once.
Okay. What's the most important thing in terms of photography that you've learned on this trek?
I wouldn't say I've learned it, but I would say patience. Willing to wait for the shot or set up the shot more. Just willing to do what you can to get the shot.
Okay.
I haven't exactly gotten to that point yet, but I'm trying.
And out here with the vastness of scale, did you find a good way to show the scale of things?
I like taking pictures when we're hiking, when we're trekking along the trails, and we're kind of spread out a little bit. I like taking pictures. I'll stop, and there'll be like a person like maybe 6 feet in front of me, then somebody 10 feet in front of me, and then the people I call the pod people, because they're not human, they're way in front, and I try to get all of them spread out with a nice background, and I think that kind of shows the depth of what we're doing here and where we're going. You can usually see the trail leading off in the distance.
Okay, so using people for reference.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, last question. Can you explain the Marquardt scale in simple terms?
Level of comfort. It defines, there's two things that defines how comfortable you're gonna feel that day: how cold it is, and a Marquardt scale.
Okay, dismissed. Thank you. Thanks. Unless you want to say anything to the world
No,
with your
not
fogged up
really.
glasses. Let me
Yeah,
show,
my
let me
fogged
show
up
these fogged up
glasses.
glasses here.
Yeah.
Perfect. Go get some tea.
Okay.
I'm filming this already.
You don't scare me, Mr. Marquardt.
Me scare you?
Herr Marquardt.
It's impossible. Okay. So, who are you? Where are you from?
My name is Jon Miller. I'm from Fort Collins, Colorado, back in the United States of America. And
Do you mind telling me what you do for a living?
well, most of the time I spend wasting my life making television commercials, but then I get to team up with great people like the person just behind the camera. I get to organize these wonderful experiences for all these people.
So, you get the standard run of questions.
Okay.
What made you decide to become part of this year's Everest trek?
Last year's Everest trek. Last year's Everest trek to the south side was one of the most gratifying things I've ever done in my entire life. The group's response to last year's trek was overwhelmingly positive, and it mirrored my own experience. Dating my first experience with Everest was actually right just up the road here back in 2003. It changed my life forever, and my life would definitely not be the same. I would not be the same person I am today without that first experience at Everest in 2003. So to be able to give that experience and to give all of those wonderful feelings towards other people, it's just been a dream come true. So of course 2010 had to happen.
What's the coolest thing about this trek so far?
The coolest thing about this trek so far is that in all of my other experience with Everest, there's hundreds of people everywhere. There's people everywhere. I'm looking up here, there's 2 little kids up here. I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm not saying that the people are bad. There's someone walking down the street over here. But on this trek, going to the Kangshung face of Everest, which is also known as the east side of Everest, we were it, aside from the occasional, and I truly mean occasional, nomadic yak herder or goat herder. We had the whole place to ourselves, and that was truly a wilderness experience on Everest, which is the last thing that anyone who knows anything about climbing Everest or really trekking to Everest would tell you. It's not a wilderness experience. There's people everywhere.
So anything about the trek that sucked?
What sucked was seen my friend Damion in the hospital. Sorry.
That was not easy.
That was not easy. That was not easy, but he persevered, and man, did he come through with flying colors. Wow. But that was one of the hardest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I felt, although I wasn't responsible, he was here because of me. And so I felt a lot of responsibility for that, and I'm glad that he's having the time of his life up here now. And but that was one of the toughest few days of my life. So I can honestly say that.
Okay, back to photography.
Okay, back to photography.
You're
Okay.
you're not a still photographer, but you shoot video. So what subjects did you shoot most on the entire thing, including the cities and the wilderness and?
What subject matter?
Yeah, what subject matter?
Well, primarily I was trying to, in some way or another, try to capture the scale of the place. And this trip was different for me because, actually, you were a big inspiration. I'm looking at Chris, the photographer, because he always talks about walking around with like a prime lens, like with a 50mm lens. And one of my experiments this time was to film in 3D. I know that it's going to be, there's lots of footage of me filming with my 3D rig, but in order to get the 3D perspective, I needed people up close, I needed people far away, I needed mountains far away, I needed things, lots of different distances and everything. And but I could only shoot video at the widest angle that my cameras could do. So basically, I had a fixed lens on both cameras. So that was actually a real challenge, and I found it to be incredibly gratifying. Just like you, Chris, have already said, you know, you get to learn so much more about how to compose a shot or how to walk around and maybe how to become a better photographer when you don't have all the fancy bells and whistles, when you're just limited to one focal length, which is what I was limited to. And my bigger camera was shot by our good friend Pemba, and he got all other stuff that I didn't get. So, and I know he got some great stuff. So that was mostly probably just trying to get distances and scale, which is pretty much impossible out here.
So I was asking the other photographers, the still photographers, who most of them have zoom lenses with them, if they were more telephoto wide-angle shooters. I guess that kind of answers the question for this trek.
Wide angle, however, because of the 3D effect, I had a really unique situation because I couldn't be wide angle and right up close to the person. I had to be wide angle in, let's say, 6 feet, maybe 2 meters away, because otherwise you'd see dual images, right? You know, if I look at my finger, I see one finger. If I bring it too close to my eyes, if I don't cross my eyes in, if I keep them looking straight, I see two distinct images. And so I have to stay far enough away from the subject so that won't happen when I do the 3D conversion.
What's your favorite photo video thing that you brought on this trek?
Like gadget or piece of video?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I think the biggest hit has been my son dancing on the coffee. I have a 2-year-old son named Sam, dancing on the coffee table in front of our couch in our living room, while my wife and I were laughing hysterically on the couch while we're watching Michael Jackson rehearse "Beat It" for his This Is It concert tour, which never, unfortunately, was able to take place. But it's one of those things where he's just shaking.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam's just shaking it, and well, so is Michael. Michael could move. Wow. But Sam's shaking it, and he's wearing this like long sleeve onesie, so he doesn't have any pants on. He's just got his little onesie on, and that seems to break through all cultural barriers, all language barriers, and it's been a hit in Kathmandu. It's been a hit in Lhasa. It's been a hit all along the trek. And just a hit in a little tea house here at the Rongbuk Monastery just about half an hour ago. So he's going to be famous, though he's not on YouTube with that. I think he might be on Vimeo, but he's not on YouTube with that one.
Is there any photo/video thing that you will leave home next time?
that I will leave home. Whew, you know, I didn't use my tripod as much as I thought I would. I did use it a few times just doing some sightseeing, but that's a tough one. That was the only thing I didn't use regularly over the past, let's say, week and a half, 2 weeks. But that's mostly just because I didn't have the strength to carry it. But I don't think as a professional photographer I could let myself go anywhere without a tripod. I mean, that might seem like a cop-out, but I don't think I could do that, because if I always have a choice, I would use a tripod. For me, on this trek...
As a videographer.
Did I say professional photographer?
You said photographer.
I'm still taking photographs.
Yes.
30 a second. But as a professional content creator, I wouldn't leave home without a tripod, and I use them all the time. And wow, thinking of coming out here without one just makes me nervous.
Okay.
But at least I had it in my bag, and it wasn't being carried by a porter. It was being carried on a pack animal. So, but last year it was carried on a porter, and I had more access to it, and I think I used it more.
Have you got any tips around showing the scale of things here? The mountains? What's your secret when you
What's
try
my secret? I don't have a secret. I think sometimes, you know, I said that it's impossible to show scale. I think sometimes the photographs just simply speak for themselves, even if you're not a professional. This part of the world is considered so exotic and so far away, and in terms of where I live in Colorado, it literally is the other side of the planet. So it's hard to get any further away from home than where we are now. But people are always interested, and people will always be interested in the Everest region, and Tibetans and the Sherpa culture in Nepal. I think the biggest thing that I could say to people, it has nothing to do with their cameras. It's just, there's only so much you can capture with your camera, and that you have to put your camera down once in a while, stop looking at your feet as you're walking along the trail, and just look up and look around, because you're going to remember the scale better than you can probably portray the scale in an actual photograph or in video. And I happen to be in the position where this is sort of my business, is to show this part of the world. But aside from that, I mean, so many people just want to get to next camp and everything like that, and it's like, this could be a once in a lifetime experience. And you know, slow down, stop looking at your feet, stop looking at the next rock, just stop and just kind of breathe in these big mountains. I mean, right now in feet, let's see, we're at about 4,900 meters. In feet, that is 16,000, I've got 16,160 feet. So the mountains that are behind Chris, so behind the camera, they're not the biggest mountains in the world, but these mountains are between 18 and 20,000 feet high.
They're in snow right now.
Yeah, it might be too hard to expose them, but I mean, it's amazing when you think about where we're starting from, where the valley is, and you go up, then it puts scale in a completely different perspective. So I think sometimes people are so worried about trying to capture it on their memory cards and everything, they forget to actually capture it into their brain so they can have a dream about it 3-4 months from now, 3-4 decades from now. So I don't know, but I have a luxury. This is my 3rd time here to this spot, my 4th visit to Everest, and I've now seen Everest from all 3 sides, and so I know that this won't be the last time. So I think I'm spoiled in that way, but I get to know that I'll be back at some point if I want to. So, and so will this guy.
Okay, last question.
All right.
Can you explain the Marquardt Scale in simple terms?
Oh, wow. I could have 2 nights ago. I was actually thinking about it. The Marquardt Scale is, what's the Marquardt Scale? What's the Marquardt Scale? Oh, come on. You know it better than us. You're already assuming the position. The Marquardt Scale is, in the US we have designation between whether you have to pee, which is number 1, whether you have to poop, which is number 2. Sometimes when you have to do number 2, it comes out the consistency of number 1. Sometimes, well, it never is the other way around, but it's all about pooping. So sometimes if it's poop that comes out as a number 1, that's a 1.0. If it comes out normally, it's a 2.0. And then if it's somewhere in between, it's divided into tenths. So that's about as easy as I can. So if you're right in between, where it's sort of halfway between like the consistency of pee and poop, you're 1.5. Is that's about it, right?
That's about it. By the way, John, I've done a few of these interviews. The longest one so far has been 7.5 minutes.
Oh, well, you don't get me on camera then, because
You like talking.
I talk.
This is
37 minutes and 47 seconds.
14 minutes now. This is twice the length of any other video. Just saying.
I used to be a reporter.
Yes, I can tell. Thanks. Let's get some tea.
Okay.
So, who are you? Where are you from?
I am Christine Ziegler Zadlow, and I am originally from New York, but right now I live outside of Philadelphia.
Would you mind telling me what you do for a living?
Right now I'm after this trip, preparing to go to grad school to eventually become a psychologist.
Awesome. What made you decide to come to the 2010 Everest trek?
I was going through a really rough time in my life and needed to get about as far away from my normal life as I possibly could, and you can't get much farther than this.
So you succeeded in that?
Yes.
What's the coolest thing about the trek so far?
The people. Definitely the people. I mean, I already knew that you and Monica and John were cool, but you know, all the fellow trekkers have just become very near and dear to my heart.
Is there anything about the trek that you totally didn't like?
Going so slow that I came in at 2:30 in the morning to one of our camps and had to do a pretty serious downhill in the dark. But the upside to that was I had as many as 4 Sherpa with me at any one time to get me through that hard part. So all in all, it really wasn't that bad.
Cool, very cool. What subject matter did you shoot most? And including everything with the cities and the hiking and everything.
The animals.
Animals?
Animals, cats, the yaks, sheep. Yeah, I have a whole running series of animals that I've been collecting.
How about people?
Some people. I had a really fabulous experience with some of the novice nuns at the nunnery we visited. And Jeffrey was with me, and we had them in stitches, and I have some really great pictures of these novice nuns laughing their butts off.
Very cool. So are you more of a telephoto or wide angle shooter?
In this case, I'm being more of a wide angle shooter, but in my normal habits, I'm actually a macro shooter.
Okay, that's very close.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. What's the favorite photo thing you brought with you on this trek?
My imagination.
Anything you would leave at home next time?
Probably not.
Didn't bring anything that's superfluous?
Well, I haven't changed lenses at all, but I do want to try and play with my lens baby today.
Okay.
But no, I think I packed pretty well. No, I wouldn't change a thing.
Cool. What's the most important thing in terms of photography that you've learned on this trip so far?
How to use my camera, because I hadn't had it for very long before the trek, and so just learning how to control for light is a big thing for me.
Okay. Anything on the trip that helped you with that? Did the histogram help you, for example?
I haven't played with the histogram
Not yet?
but the lessons that you've taught me and some of the lessons that Jeffrey has forced me to learn, whether I wanted to or not, and I mean this in a great way.
Yes.
But yeah, he sort of has been taking control of my camera every once in a while. He says, "Here, try this."
Cool. So you've been learning from others here as well.
Oh yeah, I've been learning from everybody.
Okay. With the vast landscapes around us, on the hike and now coming up on Everest Base Camp, how do you show scale? Is it possible at all?
Oh yeah, adding elements to the foreground, people, tent, something that gives people an idea of what the human height is versus the vastness of everything that's around us.
So you're using something for reference, basically.
Yeah, it's all in the composition.
Yes. Okay, last question. Can you explain the Marquardt Scale in simple terms?
No, I can tell you that right now. I've been fighting with the Marquardt Scale on a few days, so it's either there or it's not.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
I told you I'm a ham.
So, who are you? Where are you from?
Kevin Mahar from Dublin, California, across the bay from San Francisco.
Mind telling us what you do for a living?
I'm a firefighter paramedic for the city of Fremont. Been doing that for 25 years.
And by the way, you can look at me. Don't have to stare at the camera. Just so it's kind of looking at this little lens thing now. Don't have to. So, what made you decide to become part of the Everest Trek 2010?
Well, I saw when you guys did the first one and didn't really think it was really something I was that interested in, and then saw the pictures and video of it that you guys posted afterwards and thought, oh, that would have been a lot of fun.
So the marketing finally worked.
So soon after that, you posted for the 2010 and went for it.
Awesome. What's the highlight for you so far?
Actually, well, seeing Everest, but really I enjoyed the stuff in Kathmandu and the ancient city we went to, and just seeing the people, the kids and the old people, and how they lived and stuff. For me, probably was the highlight.
Okay. Anything you like least?
I found that I don't really like cold. I like to go skiing, but then in the evening you're in a nice warm hotel or in front of the fireplace and stuff. Cold for days and days is found not my thing.
Okay. What subject matter did you shoot most, and including everything from the cities through the hiking?
Probably, I don't know if number of pictures wise, but just the people and the different cultures and stuff. It's just a lot different than back home. And I really like little kids and old people.
So you got some great people shots there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What about landscapes?
And landscape wise, just the mountains. Really liked every place that we went on the east side. There was always, every place we camped was great mountains.
Okay. So do you see yourself more as a telephoto or wide angle shooter?
Well, I thought I had a 70 to 200 that I was going to bring, and decided not to just because of weight, and I was really worried about not having that 200, but I found my 24 to 70 works out just fine, and so probably more wide angle actually now.
What is your favorite photo thing that you brought on this trip?
Well, I do like my new lens, the 24 to 70, but the one thing that I didn't have before was the clip that I had on my waistband that I could clip my camera into, so I didn't have it hanging around my neck and stuff.
A bit like a gun almost.
Yeah, I just found that to be great. I think I'm going to use that a lot.
Okay.
And it was like $12. Found it real cheap in China.
Made in China. Do you know the brand?
China. No,
Not really.
but I think it was on dealextreme.com.
Okay, so it was a holster kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you put it on any kind of belt.
Anything photographically that you would leave at home next time?
Well, I really thought I was going to need a tripod, and I ended up leaving that home at the last minute using a beanbag, and that's
Did you
worked
regret
out.
it?
No, it's worked out really well. Seeing everybody else, or not everybody else, but a few people that have had it, I'm glad I didn't bring that. And I brought a neutral density filter and a polarizer filter, and never took it out, so I probably wouldn't bring those again.
Okay. What's the most important thing in terms of photography that you've learned on this trek?
Wow.
Did you learn anything new? You've been on a workshop before, we have to say that.
Yeah, I took your street photography in San Francisco a couple years ago. I'm sure I've learned some things. I learned something about Lightroom when you were showing some of that. In that when you do the cropping and stuff, you can make it so that everything around it is black, and as you crop, it becomes black. I always have it where you can see what you're cropping out and stuff, and so that might change things a little bit on my cropping.
Okay. Difficult thing out here is to show scale.
Yeah.
Is there any way you managed to do that easily? Did you find a good way to show scale?
Well, other than you mentioning putting people in it, and so I've tried to do that some, but I've shot a lot without people in it, and I guess I'll find out when I get home whether that's going to work or not. But other than putting people, something that you know what the size is pretty much the best.
Okay. And last question, can you explain the Marquardt scale in easy terms?
Scale from basically 1 to 10.
No, 1 to 2.
Or, well, 1 to 2, but it's basically a 10 scale, 1.1, 1.2. Going from liquid to a solid, having to do with bowel movements. But it's been very useful, because we've all used it.
Okay, that was it.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Cool.
The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every day, and watching the show has become a part of many people's weekly routine. The show will always be free to download, but it's by no means free to produce. Please help me cover my costs by making a small monthly or one-time donation from the right sidebar on my website, and in return I'll give you some cool bonus materials. A donation of any amount will grant you access to some interesting video content, including high-definition versions of several podcast episodes. A one-time donation of $25 or more, or any of the monthly donation options, will additionally grant you access to a downloadable version of the film Everest: The Other Side, which episodes 1 to 61 are based on. I really cannot express how vital these donations are, and if you've made a donation, thank you so much. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywoo.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.